It's your destiny to greatness with Dr. C and Brothers Keeper. Today, active member at Cathedral of Love Ministries in Salisbury, Maryland, science teacher and one who has a passion for helping young ladies reach their destiny, Alexis Coleman. Minister under Pentecostal doctrine from Cathedral of Deliverance in Fruitland, Maryland, Jerome Hudson. All next on Your Destiny to Greatness. And now, here are Dr. C and Brothers Keeper.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
Excited as usual.
Well, I'm glad. I'm pretty excited too. Today we have a wonderful show planned and prepared for our viewers. The topic, the power to love even the not so lovely. You're looking at me. Why? Do you have a problem with loving people?
I've experienced that a few times. But I can pull back on the fact that Jesus showed us the way to do it. Because he is love. And if we become connected with him, even though I don't really like to do it sometimes, if I'm trying to be like Jesus, I must push myself to do that.
Well, see, you're going right there to the point. And this is why I love you, because you're real about this thing. Love, we know, is action, but it takes Jesus to be able to help us, because let me tell you, there are some mean and nasty people, and they're not always outside of the church.
Exactly.
Can I get an amen on that?
Amen.
Yes, but Brothers Keeper, we have to have a little bit of power and will to be able to overcome that.
Yes.
Because feelings can be hurt, and I know my feelings have been hurt quite a few times.
Yes.
But can you help me with some ways to keep going and not stopping when that happens?
Well, with me, when I start to feel maybe stressed out about how someone may not be treating me,
Right.
I will try to find someone and treat them like I think I need to be treated. And the more I treat them, and as they say, what we put out is always what comes back. Maybe not now, but it will come back. So if we strive to keep on, our job is to radiate the love. We can't radiate the love and bring the love back too. Once we radiate it, it will automatically start coming back. And sometimes it comes back from places where we least expect.
Well, I can agree with that. And another thing, it is so helpful when we learn to love people, even those who don't love us back, because it helps us on the inside.
Yes.
Walking around being mad and mean and looking bad, that's not good.
No.
But when we love, we find that other people are drawn to us.
Yes.
And our day seems to go along better.
Yes.
Our face looks
Yes.
better. I remember Reverend Smith, he would say that, people that are always mean say they look like cracked up cornbread. Well, I know I don't want to be looking like cracked up cornbread. But I'm thinking about our guests for today. Two beautiful and loving people. Have they always been treated right? No. But I know that they've always treated me right. And I believe that they're going to be able to shed some light on this topic, the power to love even the not so lovely, so that our guests and listeners might be able to just learn how to love even the more. So we have coming up first, Miss Sister Alexis Coleman. Well, she's hailing from New Jersey. She's a city girl.
Okay.
And she loves the Lord. One thing, Miss Alexis, she just has a heart for Christ, and she loves helping ladies reach their destiny. Isn't that what we're all about?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Exactly. So I just believe that she's going to be able to speak just so eloquently, I love that word,
Yes.
and help us learn a little bit more. But then we have Brother Minister Jerome Hudson. And he's going to put some words together. I can't even touch the surface of how he's going to be able to help us understand this power of love. So, Brothers Keeper, we're going to go to a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about this love thing.
The excitement shall begin.
It shall begin. Well, we are back with Miss Alexis Coleman. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
So, the power to love, even the not so lovely.
Yes.
I know you know a little bit about that.
I know a lot about that.
Mm.
What can you tell me and our watchers, our viewers about this? How do you handle it when the situations come up?
Well, I can definitely tell you guys a lot about that. I've had to deal with that many times, a lot of times not because I wanted to,
Right.
but even growing up in the home that I grew up in, just not always the best situation, but God had to show me how to love. And growing up, I really did not understand that, but as I gained a relationship with Christ, you know, I learned that, you know, the way that person was treating me, it was not them, but it was the spirit that was acting in them.
Yes.
And so God had to show me how to love and how to forgive.
Right.
Because, you know, our human nature, we don't just readily forgive someone
no,
or
we don't.
love them. You know how Christ loves us, even when we're unlovable.
Right.
So God had to show me how to love that, just love with the love of Christ, regardless of how someone loves you or treats you, even when you're not deserving of how they're treating you. So just love with the love of Christ, forgive, and when they see that you're treating them with love, despite of how they're treating you, then that does something within them, like, oh, I need to, you know, get myself together.
Right, right.
And not only have I learned that with growing up, but even in some personal relationships and having to deal with
Yes.
just some things,
Yes.
some real
Right,
things, some
exactly.
hurts,
Yes.
some pains deep within. But and not saying that I've always dealt with things the right way, because I haven't
No.
always. You know, sometimes when
Identify.
people hurt us, talk about us, lie on us, do things, you know, we may not always react the way that we
Right.
should, the way that God would
Right,
have us to
exactly.
react. But I had to check myself, you know, so that I wouldn't become bitter, just unforgiving and lash out on people. But that came through prayer and fasting. Really, that was how, you know, God got me through some very tough situations.
So what I'm hearing is that, you know, it's a learning process. We have to learn, and we cannot rely on ourselves. We have to rely on God. Let Him take control. Because if we don't do that, then we'll become just like that person, or, you know, those people that, you know, hurt us, or that situation.
So true.
You know, what do you think?
She made a valid point. How sometimes we will lash out when it did it to me. Necessarily, it don't have to be the person who did it to you.
Right.
You just want to put that feeling on someone else.
That's true.
Just
That's
to,
true.
you think it's making you feel better, and actually it's making us feel worse. And if we can learn some positive avenues to take instead of what we're doing, we're putting ourselves in a vicious cycle.
Right.
And if we learn how to do some things different, then some different things will come back towards us. But if we're doing the same thing that they did to us, well, we're going to get the same result.
And that's important because, you know, we have so many people, young and old, and they are stuck. They've been hurt, and, you know, hurts, I don't care what it is, they don't feel good, and, you know, but the thing of it is, if we can shed, you know, some positive light that it is possible for you to learn how to feel better, for you to get out of that particular situation, and that situation that wasn't good, it can be turned around for your good. And this is what we need to do. Sometimes when people make it out of whatever it is, they keep it to themselves.
Yes.
So this is what we want to do. We want to share. You know, we may look okay right now,
Yes.
but we traveled through
Oh, yeah.
some situations. We've, you know, shed some tears. But it wasn't because of us. It's because, you know, we allowed God. And He's knocking on some doors right now. He's knocking on some hearts right now. And He's just saying, let me in.
Yes.
You know, you can have the wisdom that Brothers Keepers have. You can have, you know, the beautiful smile that Miss Alexis had. If you just allow me to, you know, do some healing and some mending.
Yes. And that's what it takes. You have to let Him in, because we cannot, humanly, we cannot do it on our own. It
No.
takes His help.
No.
It takes His help. He's the only one that can help us to love, help us to forgive
Yes.
in those unlovable situations.
Yes. Yes. Yes, and it's continual because even though we've accepted Christ, those hard situations they still come, and sometimes you just have to say, okay, because we still get to the point sometimes where we want to say some things and we think some things, but it's because we have that close relationship. He was like, no, we don't do that. let me handle it. Let me fight. And then we just find ourselves, calming down, and because we know those people, they don't understand.
Right.
And we're fighting, against principalities, not against flesh and blood. Oh wow. This has been beautiful. Beautiful. I knew you were going to be able to shed some light on the power of love. Thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
Thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure.
It has been. It has been.
Very enlightening.
Stay with us, because when we come back, Minister Jerome Hudson is going to continue to talk about power of being able to love even the not so lovely.
Hi everyone, I hope you're enjoying season 1 of the show. For more information about the show or to be a guest, check out Your Destiny to Greatness show on Facebook.
Well, we're back, like I said, with Minister Jerome Hudson. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm fine, thank you. And yourself?
Wonderful. I am good. I'm good.
It's good to see you again.
You as well, sir. It's always a pleasure.
Yes.
All right. So, I'm waiting, and I have prepped our viewers, and they are anticipating what it is that you're going to say to us about the power to love even the not so lovely.
That's a very, very powerful topic that you have there, that you can span a wide array of things. But what I first look at is the definition of power, because God has given us all the power that we need. Unfortunately, the world that we're living in has bombarded us with so many negative things, which is taking away our power. What happens there is the fact that we have allowed ourselves to lose our spiritual inwardness towards understanding and believing the faith that we have the power to do all that we need. Now, love is the ultimate power. So if you know how to conduct and grant yourself into loving one another and practicing it, it's a process, as you were saying earlier. Everything in life is a process. How to love is a process. What we have to do today is learn to break down those barriers that we have been programmed and trained from early age. The things the secular world has bombarded us with that allows us not to deal with the true issues, but the actual issues that we think that limit us to the things that we allow for ourselves to be able to do. Sometimes, and in most cases, we have to really define our own love based on the experiences in our family environment, outside environments, what other media and things tell us. But what we really need to deal with is the spiritual inwardness of love, to allow yourselves to unlock that fear. But the world has given us fear. They predicate us on fear because that limits us. That causes us to be oppressed. That causes us not to have the confidence to accomplish and pursue the things that we need to as humankind. See, that's the thing. Love. The purpose God gave us is to love.
Yes, yes.
You know, that is his first and ultimate. He gave his only begotten son. That is the ultimate of love. So love has the power to save lives. Then why don't we demonstrate that? Because there has been a fear instilled in us to love. We have a fear about really opening up our true selves to love.
So when that fear is there, then we know that God is missing, because
Exactly.
God
is
is not.
Exactly. That's the point I want to say. So therefore, even in the church, and I have to go there,
Yeah, go ahead.
which is where we're supposed to be the highest proponents of love, demonstrating open arms, receiving everybody. Because if you look in the Bible, there's no respect to persons. So why should we, in the boundaries of the church, be selective? And there's where the problem begins. The definition of our church has been washed away as to what the true purpose it has for opening up, demonstrating, putting into process the actions of love.
Well, when you start putting a hierarchy on what God has given freely, then there's where the problem lies. You know,
Yes.
God is love.
And he only wants us to love. Very simple is
It
the
is.
fact.
But see, when man starts stepping in and putting his thoughts, and I'm not really interested in man's thoughts, we just need,
Right,
guys,
right.
that's where, the division and all of that. So if we're talking about people not being so lovely and then having this power to love, what I'm hearing you say is we just need to simply love as God has set the example.
But that's the difficulty for man to understand, how to follow the example. And it's a difficult process. Why? Because we have to eliminate all that we have learned. So we have to unlearn all of the things that the world has taught us, which are wrong because the world is on a negative thing. And
Go ahead.
And re-educate ourselves into the fact that we have to reverse the negative syndrome and reverse it to the positive syndrome, and then the world will be a better place. Why? By the actions. And it's not easy because you have to demonstrate it and believe and see the love beyond the intentions, the actions, the feelings, the emotions that are demonstrated initially from us.
So what makes it simple? Not that the walk is always easy, but what makes it simple, because, Jesus made it plain enough that even a fool would understand, is we have to accept him as our personal Savior.
Exactly.
And once we accept him, then that's when the unlearning that you're speaking will take place. And there once it's just like coming in the door. Once you accept him, you're just like a brand new babe.
That's
and
correct.
then you have to continue to learn and move forward.
The process.
So that's the process. So we thank you. The power to love even the not so lovely. Have to learn this process. The unlearning becomes natural and more simply when you accept Jesus, who is love, and then everything will change. Is that not right, Brothers Keeper?
Yes, it is.
Well, we sure thank you.
Thank you
It's
for
been a
having me.
pleasure. Been a pleasure.
Thank
Have wealth and beauty. Have wealth and beauty.
Hi, my name is Tamara Johnson, and I'm a licensed cosmetologist. My health tip for today is applying makeup. When you apply makeup, always make sure that the makeup you're applying is close to your skin tone. If you need advice, you can go to a cosmetologist, an educator, or a teacher. Ask questions, listen, and keep your options open. This will not only give you information and resources, but it will give you beauty tips in the beauty and health world. Thank you and have a good day.
It's just me thinking again. They say we meet angels unaware. And as we travel through our day, are we willing to build churches? Or are we building the kingdom of God? Just say if you met me and I look like I'm a gangster, would you be willing to walk up to me and tell me about the love of Christ and see whether or not I got my soul on the right path? It's just something to think about. If we're not doing that, are we doing what we're supposed to do for God? It's just me thinking again. We are destined for greatness.
Let's talk about celebrating your successes, your great thoughts, dreams, and aspirations. It's okay. Many times we will celebrate others, but when it comes to us, we feel like it's not okay for us to do that, but it is. I want to empower you and encourage you today. reach down, deep down on the inside. Think about those things that you've wanted to do, the notes that you've written, the book that you thought about writing, the song that is in you, the play, whatever it is, the things that you have on the inside. Now is the time for you to do it and continue to walk in your destiny.
We are destined for great.